Yes, people, welcome back to Sick SC. My name's Joseph, and today we're going to be talking the Champions League final between PSG and Arsenal. PSG came into this game as the defending champions. Arsenal came into this game looking to win their first ever Champions League title. Their last final was 22 years ago, and they were defeated by Barcelona, and they were looking to win their first Champions League and become part of the European elite. However, that is not what happened. PSG managed to come out on top, managed to win the Champions League, and became the second team to retain the Champions League after Zinedine Zidane's Real Madrid. So, Europe's showcase event, Europe's biggest game, the two best teams in Europe, that is the purpose of the Champions League final. And I think that was what we saw, to be honest, because as much as I like to rib Arsenal, and I do give them a lot of stick, they're absolutely brilliant defensively, and they have been absolutely brilliantly defensively all throughout the Champions League. Up until the final on Saturday, they'd only conceded 6 goals in the knockout stages, I believe, which is absolutely unbelievable. With Saliba and Gabriel being such a solid defensive partnership, it would be interesting seeing this in this game, how Arsenal and PSG matched up, because PSG is such a formidable front line. Like I said, we spoke on the channel about the game between Bayern and PSG, where the wingers were just absolutely on fire. PSG have such a formidable front line. You were intrigued to see how Arsenal dealt with it. Could Arsenal actually shut them down and make them struggle to create chances, because they've not struggled like that against anybody else. And to be fair to Arsenal, they really did. PSG didn't really have too many chances, but this is where my criticism of Arsenal comes in this game, because I don't think there's anything wrong with sitting back against a team like PSG. When you're playing against a team like Paris, they're gonna have a lot of the ball, they're gonna have chances, they're gonna have territory. But my problem with Arsenal in this game was on the break, they didn't offer anything. They were so good defensively, but when it came to breaking out and counter-attacking with pace, or getting in behind, or getting balls into the box, Arsenal didn't really offer any threat after the goal. They seemed very, very happy to sit back and just accept a 1-0 win. And obviously, you can't say that it's impossible that would work for them, because that's worked for them all season. But I do think they'd have been better suited to trying to get a second goal and then maybe sitting back. But yeah, we'll get into the game more in detail specifically. So kickoff comes, and not much going on in the first 5 minutes, and then a ball gets cleared, I believe it's by Marquinhos, and it hits the arm of Leandro Trossard. The ball bounces back to Kai Havertz, who runs all the way through. Good running power, to be fair to him. Carries the ball really well, gets into the box, and then beats Safonov, the PSG keeper, at the near post with a great finish, kind of reminiscent of Giggs 99. However, the keeper has to do better here for me. You're standing there, all he's got to do is stand up big and tall, because he's given him the space to go above him. And if he stands up taller, the Havertz doesn't have that finish. He doesn't have that finish. He either has to go across goal or through his legs. So by almost crouching down and being ready for a low shot, he sells himself completely, and the ball goes flying over him, and it's 1-0 to Arsenal 5 minutes in, and you're thinking, oh no, this is going to happen. They're going to do it. Panic stations. But after a rocky start from PSG, they did start to get back into the game. They started to play good football. And yeah, they came back into it. But like I said, it didn't really seem like Arsenal were posing them that much of a threat on the counter-attack. PSG started to have a lot of the ball without really creating any penetration with it. But Arsenal didn't offer anything when they won the ball back. So when Arsenal were winning the ball back, it was just getting cleared or pumped long and coming back to them, and they would just end up under pressure. They did manage to make it through to half time, and after making it through to half time, you're thinking, this is scary. I wasn't ready for the Arsenal fans if they'd have won that trophy Saturday. If they'd have won that trophy Saturday, none of us were ready for the smoke that they were going to have for us. But thank God, second half kicks off. Again, PSG on top, dominating the ball, dominating the territory. Kvaratskhelia, who you hadn't really seen in the game, plays a lovely 1-2 around Christian Mosquera. And Mosquera gets his legs in a complete tangle with Kvaratskhelia, takes him down. The referee points straight to the spot. And then the penalty is given to Ousmane Dembele, who has, at this point, has had quite an up and down game. I don't think he's had one of his better performances. When Dembouz's on it, that close control, the skill, the pace, the flair, and the runs in behind and the pressing, it's scary to watch, but I don't think he had his best game against Arsenal. But one thing he did do is he kept his nerve and tucked away a very high pressure penalty in the Champions League final. 1-1. And from there on out, the game didn't really change at all. Even with the goals, it was just kind of a pattern of PSG having possession and looking to try and create chances, but not really getting in behind Arsenal's back four too much, not really getting past their centre-backs too much. And then Arsenal just not really offering that much of a threat on the counter-attack. Players like Odegaard and Lewis Skelly and Royce not really getting on the ball. It was an interesting game. It was very attack versus defence, shall we say. I think it was quite one-sided in terms of that. And I'm just going to get the stats up now to show you how one-sided it actually was. And the stats do tell a similar story of PSG dominating the game with 75% possession to Arsenal's 25, 1.72 XG to Arsenal's 0.51, and 4 shots on target to Arsenal's 1 shot on target. It does kind of paint the picture that Paris did dominate the game, and that would be a true picture to paint because the Parisians really did have control, and it did feel like they were never going to concede. I never felt throughout the whole game, other than the goal they did concede, that they were going to concede. They felt quite comfortable. But Arsenal managed to hold out all the way to extra time and all the way through extra time, which was quite uneventful, leading to penalties. And the penalty shootout was big. Now, as a fan of Manchester United, I know what it's like to lose the Champions League final. I know what it's like to win the Champions League final, and I know what it's like for us to win the Champions League on penalties because I've seen it. And the pressure of those penalties, the way your heart is beating, the way you feel it, it's like one of the core childhood memories of my life is watching the 2008 penalty shootout with my dad. So yeah, it is a touchy moment. You are shitting yourself. But it was PSG that won the toss, and they won both tosses, which I actually think was important because the penalty shootout was in front of the PSG fans, which puts a bit of added pressure onto the Arsenal players. And also, PSG went first, and statistically, teams that go first in penalty shootouts tend to win 60-70% of penalty shootouts. Let me actually find the stat so I can give you an exact amount. So yeah, the actual stat is 60.5% of teams that take the penalties first in a shootout win the shootout, which is obviously advantage PSG. And the penalties from PSG pretty solid, pretty decent. Only one missing for Paris was Nuno Mendes, but it was Arsenal who were first to miss, with Eberici Eze having that kind of stutter step penalty and putting it wide, which I think is a disgrace, man. Like, for me personally, if you're a professional footballer, yeah, and you're putting penalties wide, yeah, like, have a word with yourself. If it gets saved, yeah, then it gets saved. You're playing against good goalkeepers, but you can't be putting penalties wide of the post as a pro baller. I mean, Eze cost 65 mil, man. Come on. I know it's pressure, but get it on target at least. And then Eze misses his penalty, and you think it's advantage PSG. Next penalty taker's Nuno Mendes, like I said, who missed for Paris. And then it's all square again. Paris score. Declan Rice scores his penalty, a good penalty as well, under a lot of pressure. And then it falls to Gabriel. Now, if I could have picked a player before the game to miss this penalty, I would have picked Gabriel, because this guy is a top class player. He's an absolutely brilliant centre half. He's world class, and I don't say that lightly. He's absolutely brilliant, but he's a cheating, whining, crying, fake hard man. And this is a guy, yeah, when anyone gives it him back, he don't want it. When he's giving it large to Maguire start of the season, but when Maguire gives it back, he don't want it. He's a fake hard man. And for him to miss this penalty and cost Arsenal the Champions League, it honestly couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Like for all football fans, for everyone who doesn't support Arsenal, Anybody would have wanted Gabriel to be the guy to miss that penalty, and he absolutely scored it. You could tell he was nervous stepping up to it, and as he gets up to the ball, absolutely powers through it, smacks it straight over the bar. Technique absolutely terrible. Like I said before, professional footballers, you need to be able to take a penalty in a shootout and get it on target. So that leaves PSG champions of Europe. Five penalties taken, 4 scored, 3 for Arsenal, 4-3 on pens, and Paris retain the Champions League. Heartbreak for Arsenal again. I'm glad, you're glad. This has been a quick review of PSG versus Arsenal in the Champions League final. This is the last video we're going to be talking about this season. So from this point on now, most of my videos are going to be focusing on the World Cup, transfers for Man United, and the new season for Man United, and what things mean and what players we're linked with and things like that, transfer targets and all that stuff. And then, like I said, World Cup content. So I'm looking to do a lot of World Cup based content. We're going to have England stuff. We're going to have match previews. We're going to have big game talking points. We're going to be talking about the last matches that happened before. I'm going to be doing daily reactions to the World Cup stuff. So keep it locked to Sick SC. We've got more videos coming. Thank you for taking your time to watch this video. I've been Sick Boy Joseph, aka whatever the fuck you want to call me. Please like, hype, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff. Get in the comments as well. Thank you for watching. Take care.
Black boys made the wave, these boys don't make a splash. Greedy with a ball, I ain't passing that. Bitch, I'm greedy with